Folks, next on All In is one of those guests that we love to have in here for a variety of reasons, not the least of which, look how sharp looking this guy dresses. We'll get to that part here in a sec. But more specifically, regardless of what your business is, regardless of the product, goods, service, widgets you're selling, you're going to have issues that you didn't plan on when you got into any type of business. But guys like our guest are there to help you. So let's meet Charles first. Charles Reed, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Bryan.
Thank you
Pleasure
for coming
to be here.
in with us. Get Payroll.
Yes, sir.
That's a great name for a company. What does Get Payroll do? I think I could guess, but let's hear it from the head honcho.
We provide payroll services to small and medium-sized businesses around the country.
Around the country?
If you have an employee, you're a potential client. If you're an entrepreneur who's incorporated, you're a potential client because you have to pay yourself. Mm-hmm. You have to file payroll taxes. You have to pay them and do all the reports for the government, even if it's just you as a corporate officer.
So when you say you can do stuff all over the country, you can help with those state taxes as well.
Absolutely.
Here in the great state of Texas, we don't have that one yet.
We have unemployment taxes. We just don't have income taxes.
You got that pesky franchise tax too.
Well, that's a whole different
We'll get on that another next show. But bring it on back down. So you are able to work around with people around the country. And
Absolutely.
You've been doing this a little while.
We incorporated in 1991. Mm-hmm. And I'd done payroll for other firms prior to that, but I hung out my own shingle in 91.
So from 91 to now, so many things have changed with the computer world. Is that what allows you to sit wherever and work with somebody wherever?
Absolutely. As things changed, we got able to get more national very quickly. Once we got into the internet, mm-hmm. we were in there early and started picking up clients all over the country. And the changes in direct deposit and fax machines and electronics and email have made our life easier. We used to order paper by the pallet. Okay?
Wow.
Literally. We now go and get 3 cases.
3 cases.
Yeah.
It's going to hold you out a while.
Instead of 40.
The trees are very appreciative.
Yes, they are.
Of the things that have changed.
Well, one of the things we pioneered early on was a green payroll.
A green, okay.
Where everything's electronic, there is no paper.
Yeah. And you were in on the start of that stuff.
We were in on the start of that in the late 90s.
Wow. Okay. Well, again, Charles Reed, I told you he's not just a sharp dresser. He knows what he's talking about as well. So you could help me or any other small business owners out with that scary entity known as the Internal Revenue Service, the IRS.
Absolutely. I'm a CPA,
okay,
certified public accountant. I'm also on the IRS Advisory Council. I meet with the IRS at headquarters 5 times a year to help them resolve problems. I'm also a U.S. tax court practitioner, which allows me to represent clients in the U.S. tax court even though I'm not an attorney.
Interesting.
So if we have a real problem that we can't solve with the IRS, mm-hmm. we don't have to pay the taxes. We spend $60, file a petition with the U.S. tax court, and bring them into it.
Okay.
And most of the cases are solved without ever going to court. 95% of the cases are settled.
95% get settled.
Because the IRS does not want to go to court, lose, and create a precedent.
They don't want to do that, but now, so I'm reading into this. You tell me if I'm wrong. So from what you're saying, on occasion, the IRS can make a mistake?
The IRS makes literally millions of egregious mistakes every year. And then they try to collect penalties.
Yes.
And if you don't know how to handle the IRS, how to fight them, the steps to go through, and the annoyances that happen, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
40% of all the penalties the IRS issues are abated by people like me who know what they're doing.
Well, and again, folks, me, you, any of us, we don't have to know how to do it. All we have to do is know how to get a hold of this guy.
Exactly.
And now I know how to get a hold of Charles Reed. I'm not quite as scared as I've been other times in my life.
You shouldn't be. The IRS is full of good people. Mm-hmm. They try hard, but they're understaffed. They're under budget. They don't have enough budget.
Right.
And they're dealing with 1960s technology that they're still stuck with.
Still.
So they have problems. And if you know how to deal with the IRS and know how to work with them, they can be reasonable some of the time.
Some of the time. but they're going to be reasonable with this guy more than they're going to be with this guy. Because this guy here doesn't know what he's doing. Charles Reed does.
And with you, it's personal. With me, it's professional.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk to them like a professional. They're going to listen to me as I'm a professional. And in many cases, I know more than they know.
But they also know that you know more than they do.
Exactly.
So
Which
that's
is
good
why
too.
they'll accept what I say. I can present them with the code. I can present them with the cases. I can present them with the law.
And they don't want to look silly. And what you said earlier, they don't want to set a precedent for the next one.
Exactly.
Golly.
They would prefer to settle.
That is great stuff. Okay, so you yourself have been a 30-year entrepreneur, at least.
Absolutely.
With your business.
Ruth, my wife and I started the business back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And then incorporated in 91. She's since passed, but it was a good 45-year marriage. And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur.
So where are you based? I know you can work everywhere, but where's home base for you?
Louisville, Texas.
Louisville, Texas. So out of Louisville, Texas, you're able to work with anybody.
Absolutely. We work all around the country. We work with people in New York, Florida, California, Oregon,
So
Illinois.
all on a federal level, or do you get into the state stuff with the different states as well?
We get into the state stuff on a regular
my
basis.
gosh.
We'll have TWC audits, Texas Workforce
Sure,
Commission.
sure.
We normally do the audits for our clients at the office, at our
Okay.
office, to keep the auditor out of our client's office.
Isn't that smart? Get into a neutral playing field,
Exactly.
or maybe a little less neutral. But
And so we only can show them what we want to show them. They can't see anything else.
he's a sharp guy, this Mr. Charles Reed, isn't he, folks? So get payroll. That's just part of what you do. I want to go back to this IRS advisory board real quick. How many people are on this board? Hundreds?
No, there's 22 of us.
22. You're one at 22 on the whole board?
Right. There's
Okay.
they appoint roughly 7 every year.
All right.
And they roll off. It's for a 3-year appointment. We meet with the IRS 5 times a year.
Okay.
Working on current problems and situations that they want advice from the profession on. They want people outside of the IRS that don't have the IRS mindset looking at problems. This is our report from last year.
Okay.
It's
Let me
a-
see this for a sec. This is a real deal, folks. That's an official report here. So 3-year term, where are you?
This is my second year.
The second year, okay. So we'll still have you around.
Yeah.
How do they find you? Do you apply for that?
You
or
apply
somebody
for it.
knows
They
you?
put out a public request for
Okay.
anybody that wants to apply. You apply. If they select you, then they, of course, run you through an FBI background check. They did that for my USTCP as well. So in the
Your
last
USTCP. See, there you go, Charles.
I'm sorry.
Bring it on down to talk show guy level here.
U.S. Tax Court practitioner.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Got it.
So I've been vetted by the FBI twice in the last 10 years.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So
Funny
between
games.
between the two of us, that's 2, as far as I know. I don't know. I may be ahead more than you. Who knows that?
Well, they let me join, so I guess I passed.
Well, I think the whole point of all me joking around here is the IRS, payroll, all this is a very serious thing. Stuff that you can't do yourself. You think you can, but you can't, and then you get in trouble. And then call him in first,
You know,
before you get in
exactly.
trouble.
Doing up a paycheck is not that difficult.
Right.
My father used to do them by hand.
Sure.
Okay? But when there's a problem, if you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to fix it
It's just going to fester.
because the IRS is going to say, pay. And if you don't pay, we're going to levy your bank account. And if you don't pay, they'll levy your bank account. You have to follow the steps to be able to counter the IRS effectively. And there is a series of steps you follow.
And you know those. You've written about those.
I've-
We're going to talk about that in a minute, too.
I've written about them, exactly.
All right, we're going to get back to that part here in just a sec. The last thing I want to say here in closing, we're about done with this segment, is this. My favorite thing that I learned from you today, out of a variety of things, is the fact the IRS really does make mistakes.
They do. All the time.
So they make mistakes all the time, and let's face it, so do we. The difference is we can contact Charles Reed to help us on our end of the deal.
Absolutely.
Charles, thank you so much for coming all in with us today.
Grateful for the opportunity.
Very informative. We appreciate everything you do and everything that you can do for me and everybody out there.
My
Appreciate
pleasure.
it. Folks, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.